Hello everybody, it is me Jack here and welcome back to another episode of World of Tanks. This time we're going to be looking at Apple 1919 playing in the American Tier 9 medium tank, the T54E1. So let's get started. The T54E1 is one of two American Tier 9 medium tanks, the other one of course being the M46 Patton. The difference with this one of course is the 4-shot autoloader that this tank is given. I like to call it the Pre-57, as of course this tank is the precursor to the T57 Heavy, the arguably overpowered Tier 10 American heavy tank, which has received some nerfs recently, but I digress, this is not the topic of the video. So Apple is already starting to rush forward to the middle of the map in the beginning of this game, and he hopes to use this position here to get some early spots on the enemy as they move to the cap center, which of course is in the middle of the map on this encounter battle. Now he doesn't get spotted there, however, when he pulls through the bushes here, the enemy MT-25 will spot him. So he pulls back to avoid any sort of retaliation fire. There's an AMX 1375 rushing his ally, and you can see here the very main strength of this tank, which is its burst damage capability. With each shot and its magazine having a 390 alpha damage, which is only 10 less than its tier 10 counterpart, it really is able to put out an incredible amount of burst damage in a very short amount of time, given that there's only 2 seconds between each shot. The drawback, of course, is the low standard penetration of each round, and we can see that Apple has included 24 rounds of APCR ammunition to compensate when having to fight high-tier enemy heavy tanks and some medium tanks, because this does struggle frontally against those vehicles. So Apple has moved to these buildings up here and is looking for some shots at them. We can see that he's trying to get a shot at the enemy E50 there, but an MT-25 is causing him a bit of grief, so he moves around this building. On his left, an ST-1 pops up, and this is basically the tank that will just fall prey to the T-54E1. You can see he bounces his round, and the T-54E1 is able to just obliterate that tank very quickly. You can see he rolls for a 425 on his last shot, which is quite high above the average. He puts a tracking shot into the Tiger 1, keeping him in place, and with that he begins his reload. Another drawback of this tank, obviously, aside from the low penetration, is the reload, which from memory is around 30 seconds. This tank is very strong, in my opinion, in the right hands. You have to know that you can't go face-to-face, unlike its Tier 10 counterpart again. It plays a supporting role, which I think is quite important for the player to understand, and it teaches you good skills to have when it comes to the T57 Heavy. So he spots this Tiger 1 again, and as we saw before, the quick damage capabilities of this tank means that he put 2 shots into that tank very rapidly. The MT-25 rushes across his screen, and with a very good on-the-move shot there, he takes him out. Now he's already down to his last round of standard armor-piercing ammunition, and you can see that you can go through your ammunition very quickly in this tank, which is something you do have to be careful of, and may become apparent later in the game. So rather than going for the reload and keeping that 1 shot in his magazine, he really does want to shoot it off at the enemy tank, so he's looking for the opportunity to shoot this enemy E50. And the E50 gladly obliges and lets him put a shot into his side there for 366 damage. He's spotted again, so he decides to pull back. The enemy S51 has not made himself known to him at this point, and fortunately he won't be playing much of a role in this game. So he begins his reload again, and we can see that although he's already done 4,140 damage, the scoreline isn't that big of a difference to what you would expect. It's 7-5 to him, however the enemy keep pulling ones back and the town is looking extremely precarious. It's now 7-6, he spots the E50 and thinks now that he's got APCR loaded he can just push right through the front of its turret, and he does, the E50 bouncing a return shot because of course it doesn't get the APCR standard ammo that the tier 10 variant does. The Black Dog shoots at his track and does nothing, and now he's looking for shots into the middle there to shoot those tanks that are sort of curving round and attacking his allies in the side. The E75 rushes through and he gets good 2 shots into the rear, pushing his total damage up to 5,503 with 5 kills. The scoreline now looking much less favourable, with it being 9-8 to the enemy team, and you can see that the enemy completely dominate the centre of the map where the cap circle is, with his last 2 allies there, the ISU-152 and the SU-12244, holding sort of last-ditch positions. He spots the Tier 8 premium German tank destroyer, one of many now, the Jagdtiger 88, and looks for a shot on his rear. You can see that gun shooting ridiculously quickly, but here his first shot misses, unfortunately. The poor accuracy of this gun again showing itself. He does get the next 3 shots into the Tiger, letting it fully aim, and manages to pull away, doing a total of 1,064 to that tank, which is very good. The ISU, being the last tank there, now just falls. He now starts to progress back to where he started the battle, and which is the buildings along here, looking for shots and also the opportunity to flank round. Now, something that needs to be addressed in sort of encounter matches is the cap circle timer. It takes a lot longer than a standard battle for a single tank to capture the base. However, you can see as more enemy tanks pile in, the counter increases, with now only 50 seconds left before the base is captured. Now he's trying to put some shots into the enemy Oho there. Unfortunately, his first misses and his second bounces. And you can see with only 40 seconds left, he starts to rush towards the cap circle. And unfortunately, some bad driving here. Clearly, he's feeling the pressure a bit. Leaves him a bit worse for wear. Now it's only 40 seconds until he gets there. He's screaming at his team to decap. And unfortunately, it does look like his team aren't doing the most they can to help with that situation. So he's rushing back as fast as he can. With only 27 seconds left on the clock, he's really starting to fear that, he will lose this fantastic game that he's played so far by capping. With only 20 seconds left, it's very much all up for grabs here. He's hoping that he'll be able to catch someone in the side or maybe the rear. And there he is. There's a Jagdtiger 88, the one he shot earlier. Hits it in the side. Fantastic. Takes it out and resets the cap a bit. The enemy Oho pops up. Does a small 313 damage to him. He's looking for shots at the enemy artillery, but instead spots the black dog there that shot him in the track earlier. He's lining up a shot. The IS-3 pops out, takes a big hit there from the IS-3, 368, but he focuses down the M41 and finishes him off with the last shot in that clip. He's down to 8 shells, which, as you see, is not that many left. You can see one of the disadvantages of this tank is its relatively quick ability to burn through the number of shells it has. At this point, it's a very, very unbalanced game in terms of tier 9s versus tier 7s. If we look, the enemy has 2 tier 9 heavy tanks left and 2 tier 8s, whereas his team, Apple, of course, has 1 medium tier 9, 1 tank destroyer at tier 8, and a tier 7 heavy, and all of whom are on precariously low hit points. The Oho, basically, this is what the T54E1 is about. He just tracks him in an unfortunate position and manages to just spew a huge amount of damage into it in a tiny amount of time, bouncing the Oho's shot. The armor on this tank is not too bad. It can definitely stand up to a few glances, and if you angle it well, the turret is tricky to find a flat surface to hit. This game is looking far more winnable now. Well, I say that, and then they lose their tier 7 heavy. It's now a tier 9 and tier 8 versus a tier 9 and tier 8, which should be a fair fight. However, this is Apple playing, and he is a very skilled player, although he is down to his last 4 rounds, so we'll see how that goes. His ally in the Charioteer has the opportunity to get some flanking shots into the enemy E75, which he shot at earlier. So Apple here knows that to kill these guys, he has to use his incredible clip ability. So the E75 spots him and puts a huge hit, 490 damage into him, but Apple doesn't panic, knows he has to penetrate his shells, curves around the side and puts a great one into the side. He's now up to 9,594 damage with 9 kills and 3 shells remaining, and it's only the enemy IS-3 left. So we'll see what he can get up to. He knows the IS-3 was last spotted there, so he's a bit cautious about coming around the corner. He's trying to spot the IS-3 by poking, when he gets detected himself and then sees the IS-3 with his own eyes. He's gently coming around the corner there, shoots, the IS-3 misses, and he gets a very lucky shot into the IS-3 there with 373 damage right into the sort of pike nose of the IS-3 that was very badly angled there. Now at this point he debates whether the IS-3 is going to come back out again or not, so he pulls back. His ally in the Charioteer is deciding to cap the base. But with 2 shells remaining and more than enough HP to take a hit from the IS-3, he's communicating with the Charioteer that he's basically just going to take the kill. So he starts to rush towards where the IS-3 was last spotted, and the Charioteer gives him some good advice to just, take your time and make sure you make the shots count. So he's rushing around here, expecting to see the IS-3, and he prepares his tank for the shot, but it's not there. Where's the IS-3 gone? He can't see him at all. There it is. The IS-3's been spotted. bounces the shot from the IS-3. Good block damage there. And you can see that the IS-3 is trying to hide behind this rock. But even the magic black hole armor of the IS-3 isn't enough to stop the 2 shells from the T54E1. What a fantastic game. 10,426 damage. That was just brilliant. So, there you have it, guys. This was the fantastic battle by Apple 1919 in the T54E1. He got the Ace Tanker Award, obviously, a Bruiser, Duelist, and Fire for Effect ribbon, as well as the Pools Medal for destroying 10 enemy tanks, the Fade-Ins Medal, and the Nade-Ins Medal. The Nade-Ins Medal, of course, being the one for destroying all the enemy light tanks in a battle. He obviously got the High Caliber for the absurd amount of damage he managed to do, the Tanker Sniper, and the Top Gun, obviously. We can see that for his 10,807 damage, he was netted a base experience of 2,079, which is huge. With his multiplier, because of his premium account, taking no consideration for his daily double or anything, he got 3,119 experience, which is huge. That is an incredible amount of experience to receive. He, with his premium account, of course, gained 42,754 credits, which is still a profit, even though he spent 108,000 credits on ammunition. However, if he wasn't running a premium account, which I know there are quite a few people that don't because pay to win and all that, he would have lost 19,000. But we can see that he, in the battle, fired quite a large amount of APCR shells, and if he had perhaps changed the loadout of his tank slightly, he probably still would have made a profit, even with the expenditure of ammunition that he did. He bounced around 1,590 damage, which is a very well done thing in the T54E1. It's quite difficult generally to bounce as many shots as he did. And yeah, that's basically it for this battle, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please remember to, subscribe to my channel if you want to see some more new videos, which are coming out soon. And I will catch you all in the next one. Bye.